Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Talking PLM 4.0 show. Last week, we talked about the challenges of implementing product lifecycle management in the Nordics, and today we are looking into one of our fastest moving sectors, and that's consumer packaged goods and retail. So with one of the most experienced product lifecycle experts in the sector, we have with us today. It's a huge sector for us because today we want to dive into food and beverage, health and beauty, retail, and packaging across a number of these areas, dive into what PLM 4.0 is doing in there and what's really driving those industries and those changes right now. So let me tell you a little bit more about who we have on the show with us today. He spent 25 years as an advocate of digital product transformation and innovative strategies using product lifecycle management tools and applications to accelerate these. It's his passion through and through. During that time, he's helped great startups improve large enterprise operations, manage sales and delivery. He's architected, he's built, and he's introduced applications to the market and made some great friends in doing it. So welcome to Brion Carroll. Ready, set, go. Hey, Brion.
Thank you. Thank you for that very prestigious career reviewing dialogue that you did, Andrew. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Any time, and just keep the money flowing. No problem at all.
Yeah, right.
Always a pleasure. How's things on the East Coast? Your East Coast, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's beautiful. We have like summer, then winter, then second summer, then fall-ish, then summer comes back again. So in New England, we always talk about the weather, and in California, you always talk about the traffic. So we always talk about the weather here. And that's
we talk about lack of water as well these days as well, I must admit.
Goodness, yes.
So,
right.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time we saw a drop of rain for a little while, unless you're up in the mountains.
Right.
There you
right.
go. There you go.
It is definitely an agile place.
All righty, so let's get this moving. So I'm super excited for today's show. There's really no better sector to be involved in with us getting closer to the consumer. Excited to start working with you in this sector, I've got to say. Over the coming months. I know you and I have got some exciting things to be doing in CPGR. So everyone, today, we're going to dive into food and beverage, going to touch on what's driving that, health and beauty, retail and packaging. We're going there one at a time, 4 sections to cover. So everyone, please feel free to jump in with your thoughts, with your questions. Put it into the chat. It's just to the right. Hopefully you can do that. Or if you're on YouTube, it's just down the bottom. We'll do our best as we go through to pick up on those questions and those thoughts and to respond to those. And if we don't get a chance during the show, we'll come back to those into the feed a little bit later on. So, Brion, let's start with food and beverage. What are the top 2 fourth industrial revolution impacts you're seeing in the food and beverage sector, and why?
Oh, it's a good question. And first off, let me start by saying that I never in a million years would think that I would be here talking with you, Andrew, and the viewers about PLM or retail, fashion, apparel, ever. I mean, I got my career started in the Army, right? I went in when the internet wasn't even a thing, really. Most people were plugging in their phones into a jack. And my purpose was to stay alive. That was just don't die, Brian. You're going here and just don't die, right? And then obviously a lot of people may or may not know that my father was getting creative in this industry, and he asked me to come onto a new company that he was starting up with a gentleman named Mark Silvestri. And I think employee number 3 in that company, or 4. Which we would be one of the largest providers in the 90s and early 2000 for PLM, right? and built solutions with them for retail and apparel and footwear. So it's just an honor to be here. But again, I would have never imagined where I'd be today talking with you.
No, it's great, and what you've been through. I mean, even the '90s. I mean, I was in that ERP wave at the time, and the millennial bug, and all that kind of anticlimax. But PLM was really just starting out, and I think nobody really understood its importance at that stage because we were all trying to save some money, make some money. We're all up in that ERP stuff. But I think the bottom line is you've been a driving force behind making product centric. And I know we talk about customer centricity, but let's be honest, you haven't got a good product, you have not got too many customers. So no, it's good. Great to have you on the show. Really, really good.
Yeah.
An honor.
Thank you. I mean, obviously you can see. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's jump into those top two that we're looking for in food and beverage. What do you think are the big drivers? What's the demand change, and what's really driving that? Please tell us.
Well, I mean, obviously you can tell I am a connoisseur of food and beverage. If I stand to the side, you can see in my facial, food and beverage are good. Eat them and drink them.
You're chiseling. You're just fine tuning the package. I get it.
That's right. But, I think we as consumers have become very critical and particular about what we drink and what we eat. There's a major shift, a paradigm in everything that you look at, things becoming more organic but as product companies, we sit there and we used to go through this long, drawn out sensory evaluation, right? The product development team would get with the sensory scientists, and there would be, and I'm not kidding, they're in a workflow when we started coming up with workflow driven processes rather than just managing data. We had workflows that would be, I kid you not, 50 tasks. Some of them would be in a continual loop and get into this and failing. You had to get the reports. You had to develop all this stuff. So what that created was a very long lead time from when the test groups came in, right? The consumer groups came in and filled out and tasted and did all this stuff, right? Smell, that's the sensory, right? That's what they care about. Does it taste good? Does it smell good? Does it feel good? Does it look good, right? These are all sensory variables. So the faster that we can iron that out and get it into the product development catalog is better, right? So that is a big one. When we look at knowing our customer, knowing what the customer in their personal life is doing, IoT is doing a great job at doing that, right? I'll be sitting there, I'll be walking in a store, and all of a sudden the latest whatever comes up. Hey, you can get a discount on yodels. I'm like, okay, man, I was going to buy them anyways, right? So it's like, how do you know that? I don't know, right? So the better we can get at that, it's one of the top two, right? Is faster time to get the product developed, more interactive and responding to market demands.
Right, got it. So just getting closer to your customer, understanding that, what are they looking for, what do they want, etc. So how is the product lifecycle management layer, the application layer, the manufacturing layer starting to deliver to those more personalized, sensory, insightful demands that you're talking about?
Okay, so we look at the first one, is the customer trends, right? How do we as product companies say this is a big one, right? We know that everyone's going to be drinking seltzer beers because they like the seltzer ones that they've been. Now we're just going to put a little alcohol in it and call it Mbagangi, and we're all free, right? So how do we get there faster? And how is PLM doing it? PLM, as you may know, I mentioned IoT, and what that is Internet of Things, is really reaching beyond the product company and ingesting all of this information. There used to be a wealth of reports that product development teams, R&D teams, and sensory scientists used to look at to get, we're going to focus on that item right there. So how they're doing that with IoT is really ingesting large amounts of information into an engine that really puts a dashboardable and presentable and simple way of looking at market trends and saying, that's where it's going. We need to start putting our templates together for our sensory insights. So the faster we can get those templates together, it's obviously the better, right? So it's kind of hand in hand, right? You say, all right, we know the market trends. Now we got to get the sensory insights together for the test groups. But every time that we do that, we'd have a new attributes, we'd have new subtypes, we'd have new catalogs of cookies, we'd have all different things. So to reuse, so doc management, so that's how, so this, right, the IoT ingesting, this is how PLM is creating. Now doc management, the good old days, right? Doc management, when everything was doc management. If I can get faster templates, if I can get faster insights from some of that IoT data that I already know is proven, because on that, my competitor's brand, it's winning. So I need to get there fast and better than them. So the faster we can get through that, basically inquiry to order, the better, right? Because now I'm going to go order to cash, right? And I'm going to get my money for my product and yields and all that stuff. I know my margins. So that's really important. So PLM's answered it through IoT, 100%. It is, if there is not an IoT business driver in our product company or a project, then we're going to fall behind because other companies are. And if we're not doing doc management well, we don't know our subtypes and our attributes for our products, cookies, yodels, or whatever. And we don't know the taste, look, touch, feel. And it's, so PLM's answering that through a quality of doc management. And we've seen that we did CAD well, right? So now going into food and beverage, we're doing it extremely well.
And what about on the automation side of things, maybe on process? How is that starting to also enable that more personalized approach to products?
Yeah, it streamlines it. Like again, the faster we can get predictive metrics from aggregation on that IoT ingestion, the faster that and the less manual intervention that I can do, the better. Bottom line,
Good.
That's it.
Good. Awesome. All righty. So that's food and beverage. Let's now go into health and beauty. What do you think is going on in health and beauty? Again, what are those top 2 or 3 drivers that's changing that landscape?
So, I told you this story before, but I think it's so relevant, right? It's, I have a buddy that had this organic soap. Yeah. It was like, like bark mulch and trees or something. It was, pine needles. What was in it? Looked like it was.
He's over here. He's in California, isn't he?
Yeah. People in New England are pouring detergent on their body. They do not care. We like the 4-in-1. It's shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and toothpaste. That's what we like, right?
Yeah,
all in one.
All in one. But on the wall and squeeze it down. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah. So he showed me this, and I'm like, why would you buy this? This is sap. You try to get this off your body. And he's like, no, it's locally sourced and all this stuff, and which is great, right? So I'm not knocking anyone that does that. I think that is a very sustainable market. But in order to make a sustainable product, we need to know traceability for yields, for shipping, for everything, right? We need to know it. In health and beauty, you got a pretty high margin there when it comes to contribution back to the company, right? It's about 80% contribution per SKU. And if it's not, then you're not going to be sustainable. If it costs us 70% to make it, and 30% is our contribution, then we're going to fail as a product company. So the key there is to make that product that I just said, the pine nut bark mulch soap, extremely sustainable. And we have to trace it all the way to the materials, right? And we are very, very particular on what we put on our bodies, what we drink, everything, right? Put it anywhere. So finding ones that we can trace to where we know it is not harmful to pets, or animals, right? Not corrupting the environment, 0 carbon footprints, right? All this stuff needs to be in the marketing. So if we're not marketing that, we're just missing a huge opportunity. If we're not seeing that when they get the product, they're like, boy, this thing stinks, throw it right out the freaking window, then it's not going to be sustainable, right? So the traceability of what's happening with our product while it's on the shelf, on the omni-channel, wherever it is, the more we can trace that from our bark, ripping it off the oak trees of California, right? The faster we can do that and get it to a traceable in-store experience or in the customer's hand is critical.
Right. So organic products, sustainability, everybody's more conscious about the beauty they're putting on, making sure it's healthy. So huge.
Well,
I'd
say I wouldn't say everyone. You know, I'm not really concerned, but there are people.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah. Good. So given all of that, so again, what is product lifecycle management and manufacturing doing in that to deliver against those newfound, emerging demands, ever emerging, accelerating demands that are coming through?
Right. So a lot, if you are looking at a best-in-class solution, right? That has all the variables, right? It's Gartner Quadrant verified. It's a challenger. It's always been a challenger. It's going to keep hitting. The way that those companies are doing it is because I remember before, and I'm going to tell you a story. My first job out of the military was working on the 72nd floor of the World Trade Center. All right. And I remember I used to take there's two IBM towers, and it was a 3480 tape. I had to, basically take the drawings of the Brooklyn Bridge or whatever was on there, take the drawings, put it into that tower, convert it to an 8mm tape, which was smaller.
You involved in the Brooklyn Bridge?
No, I buried a few guys under the Brooklyn Bridge, but you know what I mean? No, just kidding. No, so that was pretty funny. I just thought of that. I am Sicilian, but don't look into my background. All right. So what happened was I would bring it into that tape, right? That 8mm tape. And once the conversion was done, I would take it to a closed room, a secure room where they would check my badge. And I would bring that 8mm tape, put it in the cabinet, and that was secure. Right. Now, anytime, and any of us that have done anything as far as transformation, we have known that we take one thing and, just like I did, move it to another. That was our like, how do we get one source of truth? And our one source of truth was not trying to figure out master data. Our one source of truth, that was it. This is the only one. Burn that thing. So yeah, right. It's crazy, but and it's a terrible thought to think, my father worked with me on that. He didn't work with me on the project in the building, but he was definitely a part of that. And we sat there and think, like, what happened to all those daggone tapes, man? That was the only place they had it when the building went down. It's like, where did that tape go? I mean, did we lose those? I just don't know. But anyway, so way that PLM companies and challengers are doing this they're creating platforms. No longer is it, hey, you got to move everything from one room to another room, or one PDM, PLM, ERP system to another PDM, PLM, ERP system. It is making it shake hands with everybody, right? Creating that kind of service-oriented architecture that shakes hands with everybody and gets data, authors, prescribes, and gets information, so that when we look at our product as a whole, we're not having any gaps, right? So that same soap, we need to know everything about it on a dashboard, or at least on a report, so that executives can make sound decisions on how to react. So if PLM is now just a give me dashboard to CFO, CIO, bam, that's the way PLM's answering it. It is giving us presentable dashboards, which we didn't have in the past, right? That was a dream world. That was like when the Wright brothers flew.
Which helps deliver kind of traceability, origination of products and of recipes, of ingredients, etc., into the customer's hands, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, if you realize that you have some, supplier, maybe some impediments or something within the supplier scorecarding in the whole product, then you can weed that out pretty quickly, right? That this product that is not compliant. I need to get that, or that's going to influence our overall product spec, right? What they call the tech pack. That's going to influence it all. So you need to get that SOB out of there and get something else in. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Great. Good. So health and beauty, moving and shaking into, let's look at retail now. So retail, I mean, how can you pick the top two of what's going on in retail? It is crazy out there. So much happening over the last 2-3 years, as we know. But tell us, what do you think are the big impacts happening with this kind of fourth industrial revolution into retail? What are the top two big things?
I mean, it's really simple. I mean, it is. You're right that it is an evolving market always. We've realized a little bit more of a forced evolution in the past few years due to COVID.
Yep.
But the bottom line here is that what we put on the shelf as a retailer, right? Our assortment line is extremely critical. That assortment line costs us a lot of money. It costs us a lot of money, and if a product is on that shelf, it's not making us money, and it's wasting a space that we could fill with something that's going to make us money. So that's a constant battle, right, for any retailer. But what happened is, and I'll give an example. You know, some of us used to go bargain shop, and you can tell from my beautiful shirt here that I bargain shop. I'm a bargain shopper. My wife hates it, but it is what it is. She is not a bargain shopper.
You buy volume. You've got like 28 of those or something.
No, this is my second favorite shirt. So I got two. I'm on a wash and dry cycle of a day here, unless I go with my PJs to the office, which I've been doing a lot more now. But the bottom line is that assortment costs money. How do we, create and replicate? So bargain shopping. And when I go into so if you look at the point of where I shop, right? So I shop at these stores that have a very broad assortment. There's really no predictability, but you're going based on cost, right? And you go in and you're shopping a rack and you say, oh, that's a brand that discounted. I'm going to grab that, put that on my body. And versus like, and this is public knowledge, Bed Bath & Beyond, right? We go into Bed Bath & Beyond and it is clean, white, crisp. Everything is beautiful. People are beautiful. They don't have no ugly people at Bed Bath, right? And they're happy to see you. They're happy to see you. They're like, hi, Brian, it's good to see you, and they make you feel good. And so I walk into that store and I'm willing to pay $600 for, some threaded sheets, right? And but what happened due to COVID was their operational model had to change. Had to. They're not relying on that customer experience that someone walks up to them, makes them feel good. The overwhelming smells and the beauty of the place does not influence your buying decision. COVID leveled the playing field, leveled it, so that now these large Amazon retailers, which will put anything on their shelves, right? Etsy, anything, right? Will put anything on their shelf, and they have as much shelf space as they need. You just got to search by the catalog and you'll find everything. I don't know why I'm buying Gucci at Walmart, but I'm going to go for it, right? So it leveled the playing field. So if the brand is going to succeed and live through COVID, they got to think differently. They got to say, what am I going to do? So they're now making their own brands. They're R&Ding their own products so that they can be a part of that experience. Be a part of that experience. And you'll buy Bed Bath & Beyond sheets. You'll buy Bed Bath & Beyond coffee makers. So that's the way that really it has to, brands need to think is, how am I going to change my single point of contact? My assortment needs to change and be quick with it. And that's been since the beginning of time, right? I don't care if you're a mom and pop shop on the corner of, wherever, America or US, or America, US, no, world, right? Wherever you are, like, you got to make sure your products are selling on your shelf.
Exactly. So it's personalization across multiple channels. I mean, it's just gone from single touch point with a standard product offering to multiple product offerings, personalized across multiple channels. Whether I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, or whether I'm in the Amazon.com store, or whether I'm walking into the bricks and mortar. I mean, it's just huge impact, big job. And how does
to elaborate on that, it's really look at how we purchase. You're right. I can purchase now from an app that I never used to purchase from. That used to be my social feed. So creating those multiple points of entry is critical. That's right.
You got it. So how is product lifecycle management per se from the old days to the new 4.0 days? How's that had to change? How's it had to adapt? What kind of functional changes are you seeing in PLM and manufacturing to adapt to that?
Yeah, so it is, again, a very continuous, transcending, communicative ecosystem. Point of sale is not so divorced from point of sale is in this little box and I scan the card on there, right? And we get your card. Yeah. The point of sale, you can see the volatility and the consumer power in the experience in the R&D process. Again, we used to really, this whole service-oriented architecture, I'll call it digital continuity, because the continuity of my product going from that interactive, what's on the shelf, how much information can I get while it's on the shelf, RFID, whatever I can get, to ingest that information, create a good representation of the success or failure of a product and react immediately. So PLM is creating, again, and we know this, again, best-in-class solutions are not just one solution. If you really go down to the architecture of most of those best-in-class solutions, they are a hybrid of a whole bunch of solutions into one ecosystem, and they all have their strength. So the more strength you can tie this fabric of continuity, like this digital thread together, the better. So PLM is not thinking like, hey, that's happening in the point of sale system. That's nothing to do with me. That's on the merchandise. That's not it. They're saying, how can I bring that into change management, quality management, supply chain, all of that, so I can respond to my retailers better as a product company, right? I want to fill the shelf in the product company and the retailer, right?
So big subject. I mean, I even hear people replacing product lifecycle management with the term digital twin these days, or trying to at least. Not sure if they quite work that way, but digital twin, how easy is it to deliver the digital twin in the CPG space? I mean, not just retail, food and beverage, health and beauty, etc. How easy is it to deliver on a manufacturing line? How easy is it to deliver as a replica of the product even? What's your thoughts?
Right. Well, I mean, it's a very good question, and I remember, in the 80s, they used to have a lot of films that were based on, American manufacturers being taken over by a foreigner. They'd come and replace all the Americans. And then by the end of the movie, the foreigners and the Americans are singing Kumbaya, right? Yay! And it was a happy ending, right? Well, now, right, we don't care about the manufacturing people anymore, right? They're replaced with robots. And as long as I get my product better quality and cheaper, replace anybody on that whole process that you want. So us as a consumer have become a little bit selfish, right? We're trying to get to that point to where it's my pocket. I want to make sure that what's in my pocket is meeting the quality of product. So anything you can do to improve that for me, you got my vote, right? And so manufacturing, when you look at digital twin, we now, and this is not all cases, but to where there are robots actually fulfilling the product unit effectivity, right? Based on the line. Or the line itself has machines that build and automate some of that process. So the faster, I wouldn't say the faster, but the more comprehensive the digital twin of that product can be on the shop floor. Now, whether I'm ingesting that information through a tablet, through sensors, right? I have my sensor. I'm walking the shop floor. Oh, I see that we're running low on this material here at the shop, and we got a big order fulfillment coming through for that product. Well, I need to go and source that material right now because I'm going to run out. So the farther up the chain I can go to the actual SKU and get its raw material number, then I can order it, right? And then be quicker or get the spec right in front of me, right? My work instructions, everything is right in front of me. It's more integrated. Then the faster that we can respond and make sure we don't have downtime, which is bad in manufacturing, very bad. If no one knew that, it's very bad for downtime. So digital twin helps in that way. And that's one of many, many, many use cases to where digital twin becomes relevant.
Got it. And how easy do you find, or do you see implementing a digital twin onto the actual product, not just the manufacturing line?
Yeah, so digital twin really is fairy dust, I'll call it, right? It's not on the periodical scale, right? It's just kind of, it hasn't settled yet, right? So when we look at things like that, we need to say, oh, okay, someone from product to that's why in some of our products that we make, we can have 3 weeks of an inquiry to an order, or we could have 97 weeks, right? Because everything's coming to us in different formats and everything's coming to us in different ways. And we have different reports and syndication we need to do and right? So digital twin is making that conformed more into a cohesive, standard and regulated process. Not let the R&D and the scientists and the engineers just walk around the campus, inspire me, or, whatever it is, right? We want to harness our ability to be proactive and responsive in the digital twin or in that process. And that is digital twin, right? The faster I can get from an inquiry to an order, that's digital twin, right? And then digital thread goes order to cash, right? So that is how the again, industry is evolving today. These are not futuristic conversations. This is very important to any product company, retail. I don't care. It's extremely valuable.
Yep, got it. Good. Okay, let's touch on retail. We've got a few more 4.0 subject matters to cover, but let's jump into packaging. Packaging, it's all encompassing. It's across the sectors we've all mentioned. What do you think is going on in packaging? What's the real kind of earth moving stuff that's happening today?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the soap analogy before, right? And there's a very mindful ingredient and formula build that we're looking at as a consumer, but also as a product company to give us an advantage. I'm locally sourced, right? I am, I'm vegan, whatever it is, right? So I can say my product. You're when vegan? You see me on the web page, I just say,
I didn't see you as vegan.
No.
Yeah.
You know how I'm not a vegan, Andrew? You know how, because I didn't tell you about it as soon as we started this live stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how you know. They tell you right immediately. So no, but at the end of the day, it is the ingredients that we put into our recipes is extremely important. We need to, and it marries with the label, right? Again, if I'm locally sourced, I want a picture of 2 guys in New Hampshire, sitting with their overalls, and then the ingredients. We become more mindful of what we look at on the nutrition label, right? That's extremely important to us. It does not lie to us, hopefully, right? So we need regulation and all that stuff in there, compliance, right? At least we can get a couple runs before someone pulls us off the shelf, right? So at the end of the day, those are all interlocked together. And this is huge for any product company that wants to penetrate, challenge, innovate a market, is to say, what is my recipe? What's my advantage on the recipe? And how do I blend that into my label so that there's attractiveness there?
Yep. So recipe management, I mean, you've mentioned a few times in PLM, it's a challenge for many. How often have you dealt with recipe management? How easy are you finding it to implement and deliver to CPG?
I mean, it's again, I would say that any change is difficult if the product company is not mature in the way they do it now, right? You can't culture shock a company with saying they're just grabbing stuff and putting it into their formula and they don't really care where it's sourced from. If that's the company, then that's me, right? I'm buying yodels. I don't care if it says strychnine on it. I was like, I'm buying this thing. There you go, right? So, but if you care about that and your company is mature in that recipe and that formula and that ingredient package, then it's fairly simple, right? Because we have the templates. Any product company that's doing this well has the templates. They've been doing it for years. Coca-Cola's been doing it for years, right? They know what their formula is. It's locked in a vault somewhere, right? So it's just how can we take that information and again, replicate it, ingest it, bring it to an order so that we can fulfill it, and also that the customer knows that we put a lot of thought into that label.
Yep, got it. So again, across all digital continuity, you've touched digital thread, you've talked about digital twin. What needs to happen in the sectors to really deliver digital continuity rather than running from one building to the next with a hard drive?
Yeah. I mean, so when we talk about IoT, right? IoT was something we were doing a long time ago, but we were really just kind of tinkering around with our own business unit, right? Whether we were in a separate building or whether we were in a separate product line, we tinkered in silos. IoT has allowed this broad kind of collection of information. And that's at its core. So when you talk about master data management and IoT, they kind of go hand in hand. And what we need to look at for continuity is, do I define well enough? And then that's the key, right? We get to 100%. We don't want 80%. Digital twin. I say that, and we've been doing that since, whatever. And I ain't going to say when, but, we've been doing it. And it's a digital twin. Yeah, it's like, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, for crying out loud. Remember that movie, The Twins? That was the twins we were banging out. I'll get it. And then the other guy just, no. So that's the twins. This doesn't look like what I put on that CAD drawing. Just screw it, put it on the thing. We didn't care. But we're doing it better now. Our percentages are much more higher in that department. So the major I would say factor for success in digital continuity is defining the product master, right? And then it's variant, right? We need to be firm on the variant, even though it's subclasses and colorways and yada, yada, yada. But the item master, the product master needs to be rock solid to get that continuity. Because if you have gaps on that tree.
Yeah, and what's the next level of PLM that actually will improve the quality of that data?
So it's literally rule engines, right? So looking at that AI, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. If you can take a rule engine, put it in between the barrier of your information that's coming in, you can say this doesn't work, and I know why, because I have a set of rules that says that attribute, that subclass does not work well because we've already done the downstream processing. So push it right back to R&D immediately, right? So that artificial intelligence, the less manual, it's the same with the sensory, right? And the scientists for R&D, product development teams, the less manual intervention that we can accomplish, not only will the faster they go to market, but the more quality and the representation of that product will be as the R&D team, product development team intended. So, but I've been doing that for a long time, right? And everyone's so excited about
engines have been around for a long time. Yeah.
Very long time. That was actually,
it's a methodology.
Yeah,
that's it.
It is. It's a methodology. So, I was, I'm trying to remember what it was. I was in I did a lot of DoD work when I came out and first started working. So one of the things that we would do is create these XML, they're called WebJecks, right? These type of programming, TIBCO-ish interactive rules, basically, to where I could create a Java class that thought for me, so that when the interaction happened, the computer, the code would say, stop there. We're not going to go any further, right? And the more I can do that, stop there, don't go any further, give me another variable, and then go down that decision tree till the nth degree. I've been doing that. This is one of my first programs that I wrote for integration, and I think it was Metaphase. It was Metaphase, and I think it was a legacy ERP system at one of the DoD accounts. So it's been a long time, man. And those are, anyone that knows PLM, those are some ancient tools.
You bet. Good. Fascinating. It's so many things happening in the sector. It's a big focus for you, me, and XDI. There's no doubt about it. Brion, hey, really appreciate your you coming on the show. Really appreciate your time doing this and answering some of the questions and entertaining me. That's for sure. And everyone else.
I'm going to tell you, I was extremely nervous, Andrew, coming on this thing. You know, you're very intimidating. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to hold it with you, but I'm glad. I'm glad we made it through. I'm not wearing any pants, by the way. So, because I was not.
I'm out. Thanks for TMI, buddy. TMI.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
Got to get comfortable.
Wearing got to get comfortable. Appreciate you wearing your second best shirt. Next time, maybe I'll get the first best.
We'll see if you're good.
For your wife. There you go.
If you're good, I'll wear the best.
Brion, thanks. Looking forward to working with you. Appreciate you coming on the show. Catch up with you very soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Andrew. Take care.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Everyone, thanks ever so much. Brion, Carroll, infamous, as I'm sure we can all agree. Looking forward to working together. Everyone, thanks for joining us today. Next week, we do manufacturing. We go deep dive into manufacturing, little digital twin, awful lot of manufacturing operations. Let's see what's going on. Probably going to be talking a lot about CPG again next week, but mainly manufacturing driven. Have a great week ahead. We'll see you next week. I think we're looking at Wednesday next week at around 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. 1600 British summertime, 1700 Central European summertime. We'll see you then. Have a great week ahead. Thanks.